Yes. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. See a couple of new faces here. Nice to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello and welcome to Penguin Live, where you have the best seat in the house for the best magic in the world. I'm your host, Dan Harlan. Thank you so much for being here. Of course, you're going to be entertained, amazed, and you're going to learn some great stuff from the guest that we have with us. He's made a name for himself in the world of close-up magic with his elegant handling and his charming personality. He is a favorite performer at Monday Night Magic in New York City, which is the longest running magic show. It's an off-Broadway show. You got to go there if they're still doing it by the time you see this. Also, he performs at the world-famous Magic Castle in Hollywood and all points in between. Not only that, he has performed all over the world. He's been featured in film and television in 13 countries, and you might also know that he fooled Penn and Teller on Fool Us. We had the pleasure of seeing him perform here last night. He's going to show you some of that and teach you how to do it. So please welcome my friend, Eric Jones. Hey, Eric. How are you? Good to see you, buddy.
Thank you, everyone at home. If you know anything about me, you know I love close-up magic. And tonight we're going to talk a lot about close-up magic. Not just the performance of it, but things like redirection of attention. We'll cover some things like that. We'll talk about blocking and a few other components that make magic not only interesting for our audiences, but deceptive as well. I'd like to start off this evening's festivities by showing you one of my favorite pieces of magic that use this deck of playing cards. Not just any playing card, we'll use the top card. The top card in this instance just happens to be the 8 of spades. All you have to do is watch the 8 of spades. If I rub it on the pad like this, it changes color. So now, of course, it doesn't match the rest of the deck. But if you watch, we can change that as well. Watch the cards. All I have to do is give a little wave. And not only does the 8 of spades change, but so does every single card in the entire deck. So this is an effect that I put out a few years ago called Surrogate. In order to perform this routine, all you need is a blue box, 2 blue cards, and then a deck of red playing cards. You place one of the blue cards at the back of the pack, on the top of the pack, and then you place the other one at the 4th position. All of the other cards are regular, they're normal, and then you place them into a box. If you want to go the other way so that you change it from a red deck into a blue deck, then you just reverse that procedure with different cards. So whenever you're ready, you just pull this deck of cards out, pop the cards out of the box, and the first thing you need to do is you need to get a break under the top 3 cards of the pack. The way I do this when I'm performing in a stand-up situation is I'll do what's called a thumb count. I just allow my thumb to riffle down the side of the pack until I get a break under the 3 cards, and then I transfer that break to the pinky as I come forward. Of course, you can still just do a pinky count if you're keeping your hands in this position, but I move around a lot, so I want to make sure that I'm able to show my hands, as fair as possible. So again, just riffle down the side of the pack, get a break under 3, and I transfer the break under the pinky. All right? From this point, you can do any triple lift that you want. What I like to do is place my thumb on the back, my middle finger here, and I lift up, and I bend put a concave bend in the triple, and allow my index finger and thumb to touch, release with my middle finger, and place that on top of the pack, just like so. Really easy and casual way to handle multiple playing cards. Once I've turned that triple face up, I'm going to place the cards into an in grip or biddle grip. And I'm going to perform the Card-Yo-Marlowe move. That being that I'm going to hold this pack vertically, like so that the fingertips are along the bottom edge, like this. And then I'm going to place the triple into a perpendicular position with the pack, allowing this bottom card to rest on the 3 fingertips here. As I squeeze, I allow my hand to turn palm down, turning the pack face up, and I steal that card underneath the pack. So in exposed view, it'll look like that. From the front, it should just appear as if I'm separating the hands, and as I rub on the pad, I'm able to show an odd-back card, a stranger card. So I show this double, that actually gets 1 card on top of the pack. So now I have a really cool moment where I can now show what appears to be an entire red pack just by having 1 extra card. All right, so I'm able to show front and back. They see a red card. They see what appears to be a blue deck. And now all I have to do is take this double, and I'm going to put it into my bracelets. If you're wearing a watch on the side, you can put that into a watch. And there are going to be 2 points of contact, the bands themselves and this area of the thumb just here. So those 2 points of contact, here and here. That keeps the double together. And all you have to do is drag this card from the double onto the top of the pack. So again, just from here, you cover with the hand, that way the fingers can be seen, and you can wave back and forth a little bit because of the nature of the double. And when you drop that card on top of the pack, you get a really clean color change. I'll do it one more time. So you, actually, let's go back to the 8. So you show the 8 on the palm of the hand, you wave, you get this color change. And you even have a nice little subtlety where they see the bottom card is now also red. From this point, you can just show this card cleanly. You place it on top of the pack, square it, and then because you have 2 cards at the 3rd and the 4th position, you want to do a small block pushover as you go through the cards to show that every card in the entire pack is now blue. While you accept your applause, all I do is I get a break under the top 4 cards and I pass them to the bottom of the pack, and then I get a break above those 2 blue cards, and as I go to the table to pick up the box and place the box away, I'm left with a pack of cards that can be examined. That is Surrogate.
Cool. Cool.
Any questions?
Yeah, actually, just a quick interjection. It also seems if somebody doesn't want to do the pass and the cop-out, seems like a perfect opportunity just to throw 2 oddback jokers into there, so that when you start your set and you spread them face up, you can just pull the jokers, offhand out, and then you clean it up that way.
And that's why he's smarter than me.
No. But not nearly as smooth.
So yeah, that's another great thing, another great idea. That's why I like situations like this, where you have people of different skill sets that come together. I never like considering things like this a lecture. It should actually be a discussion, especially when you have other magicians in the room, because it gives you an opportunity to work with people of, like I said, a varying skill set, so that you can talk about magic and come up with different ideas. Any other questions before we move on to something better than this? Thanks for coming. Yes, I appreciate it. You know what I would love to do is I'd love to show you something that I've been playing around with for years. It's a routine that I don't get to do as often as I'd like anymore, only because there are some restrictions to the effect. Does anyone have a lighter I can borrow? Anyone in the house with a lighter? Yeah? Would you mind coming up? Give him a round of applause as he makes his way up. Oh, perfect. You got one. Good to meet you, bro. I'm Eric. You are?
Patrick.
Patrick, please have a seat. Here's something really interesting. Tell me, what do you see inside of the purse there? Paper. This, believe it or not, is what I like to call wish paper. Anything that you wish for, once you touch it to a flame, it can turn into just about anything. So imagine, what's something small that we can wish for?
Coins.
How convenient. All you have to do is watch. Actually, you hold on to the lighter. Give it a little flick. And if you watch, we get a solid silver American $50. Ooh, mago. All right? You know what? That's one coin. Let's try it again. We have a couple of pieces left. We'll try it one more time. Go ahead and give it another light. But watch the coin. Watch the hands. That's 2. Maybe one more. Because magic happens in 3s, right? Go ahead and give it one more little light. Ooh. A little extra magic. And that's 3. Now, you know what? If I want to keep these, I actually, if I keep them in my hand for too long, what happens is that they vanish. They travel home. You know what? Let's try it with the flame. We'll try it with the flame. Go ahead and give it one more light. It's the heat from the hand that causes it to happen, but the heat from the lighter can also cause one coin to completely vanish. If you don't mind, light it one more time. We'll wish for this one to go home. Which leaves nothing here, but if you don't mind, I don't even want to touch it. Go ahead and open.
Dump it up.
Yeah, show them. Isn't that weird? Yeah, so if you don't mind, Patrick, join us for just a couple of minutes. You know what? I think I accidentally, no, that's right, I put it under here. So this is a routine that I used to do in the restaurants at every table. It's called Flash Coins Relit. It's based on a routine by my friend Chad Long. His original was called Flash Coins. The reason I don't do it as much anymore is because where I live, they don't allow a lot of fire indoors. Even at the restaurants, they have electric votives instead of the regular candles. So they just don't allow it. But if you're in a bar situation, usually you can do that there. If you're at a formal close-up situation or if you're just performing for friends and family, this is a very dynamic, very magical routine that I really hope you give a shot. The first thing that you'll need, of course, is flash paper. And the way I like to handle the flash paper is I like to take the small pads, and I never leave them inside of the pads. Once they dry out, I cut them the long way or rip them the long way. And I ball up the bottom and I leave a little bit of a tail. And the cool thing about this tail is that when you light the tail, the balled up piece of flash paper has a little bit of weight so that when you toss it, it goes in an arc, which will be a lot easier for later. So I'll do that with all 4 pieces really quickly. The other thing that you're going to need are 3 real coins. These are Walking Liberty American $half. You'll need a coin purse. The one I typically use is the Tan Anasaka variety, but this, what kind of purse is this called? You know what this is called?
I don't remember who did that one. Yeah.
It's called a change purse, is what we'll have to call it for now. It's just a change purse. And last but not least, other than a lighter that I usually borrow from a spectator because I don't smoke cigarettes myself, is a combination of a flipper coin and an expanded shell. I'll just go over a quick conversation about what these are. This is a set of coins made for me by Jamie Schoolcraft. On the inside of the expanded shell, there's a little bit of Teflon so that the 2 coins will nest silently. Also, you'll notice in the very center, there's a little bit of metal, shim. And then this is a flipper coin, but not just any flipper coin. It's a gravity flipper coin, which means that it's got an internal rubber band, which will allow it to open and remain open without having to flick or flip it out with any force. It just pops right out. Again, that band is internal. And you'll notice right in the center, there's another little circle. That little circle is a little magnet. Now, this magnet is weak enough that I can get the flipper and the shell to dislodge when they're not, or actually, you can get it to dislodge even if they are contacting one another without a lot of force. But it's strong enough to keep the shell into the flipper coin without any fear of it popping out. So this is the OXF set. Now, this coin is going to begin in my pocket.
Say it's OXF?
OXF.
Yeah, okay.
The OxyClean Flipper Coin and Shell. Jamie Schoolcraft named it that because he remembers me doing another routine that I like to perform called OxyClean Coin Routine, which is this really, really clean 3-coin production and vanish. But the routine that it was designed for was this, and I'll share why in just a few moments. So what I do is I'll take the 3 coins, and I'll put the 3 coins along the bottom of the coin purse, and they just sit there at the bottom, and I'll cover the coins with the 4 pieces of flash paper, so that when I pop this open, all you see is pieces of paper. It covers the coins completely. This goes onto the table or into another pocket, and then you have the lighter borrowed. I'll give that back to you for just a moment. So when you're ready to come out, you can start by showing 2 empty hands other than a little purse. You open the purse and you allow the spectator to see inside. They tell you what they see. You're going to grab the coins from the bottom as you turn everything upside down and then open the purse, allowing the 4 pieces of paper to fall out. And you can shake them because you don't hear anything. Later on, when they recall that the coins end up inside, they'll remember that they didn't hear anything. And that's the reason why. You snap the purse closed. I'm going to use 1 finger so that when I place the purse down, there's a little bit of pressure keeping the 3 coins from talking as they go down onto the table. Because if you do it another way, they might remember that. Okay? So I show the 4 pieces of paper. Sometimes I allow them to be examined. And I'll reach into my pockets and I'll grab the flipper coin and shell as I pretend as if I'm looking for my lighter. And then I'll make this gesture, which you'll see a couple of times. With the flipper coin and shell in finger palm, I just pantomime the action of, does anyone have a lighter I can borrow for a moment? Ah, perfect, you have one? I'll take that lighter and I'll place it on top of the flipper coin and shell. So now my hands still seem empty and everything looks copacetic. There's a thing that I got from Jeff McBride that I sometimes do. I don't always add it, where you say, watch this, easiest trick on the planet, anybody on the planet can do it. You Take off the flame, toss, ta-da. I don't know why people laugh at that. It's cheesy. But, they do. I give them their lighter back, and I'll show you something that you might find amazing. We talk about wish paper. Now, all that's going to happen is I'm going to turn this hand palm up as I toss the burning flash paper towards the hand. If you don't mind lighting, I'll give you one tip. When dealing with burning flash paper, always, and I mean always, do it with the hand palm up. Because if you do it with the hand palm down, just make sure you're not a fan of having hair on your arms at all. Look, I learned that the hard way. So I keep my hand palm up or palm out towards my audience, light the tail, and as you toss, you turn the hand palm up, and you keep it there for just a moment. Go ahead and light it again. Just like so. You get a nice little arc, and you allow the audience to see this moment. Because when you see the flash paper, it creates, like, if you look at the sun or if you look at a bright light for a second, it leaves that like a blind spot, a white spot right in the middle of your vision. And if they're looking at the palm of the hand, they might see that white spot, and as it fades, the coin becomes visible, which actually adds another layer of deception. So you show the coin, and now I can toss this coin back and forth because of the nature of the OXF. When I'm ready to perform the next sequence, I leave the shell mouth up. I'm going to place my index finger and thumb on the portion of the flipper coin that doesn't move, so that when I turn the hand palm up, the insert of the flipper pops right out. As that happens, I cover from the front as I place this between the middle and the ring finger. The insert goes between the middle and the ring finger. So it looks like this. It just looks like I placed the coin onto the palm of the hand. Now, in a moment, I'm going to take the next piece of flash paper and toss it towards the hand. As I do so, I'm going to allow the hand to drop sharply, maybe 3 or 4 inches. As that happens, the shell is going to fall slower than the hand, dislodge, and fall forward with a clink. So it'll look like this. I'll do it one more time. When you show the hands otherwise empty, well, you don't want to do that. You're screwed if you do that. But if you show the hands otherwise empty, you light, and you cause a second coin to become visible. This is one of the most beautiful parts to the entire routine. Now, some magicians say, well, this doesn't quite sound right. I'll say something about that. You're a magician. I don't care. I usually work for regular people. What regular people hear will see that there's only one coin. They see the fire. They hear a sound which indicates magic has happened. They see 2 coins. The coins never go into the spectator's hand at this point of the routine. So if they've never seen a coin that looks like this, they have no basis for comparison. So it feels like they're seeing and hearing 2 real coins. And up until this point, there's nothing to prove otherwise. So a lot of people say, well, yeah, like I said, it sounds tinny, but I really don't care.
Yeah, you won't have a single regular person ever go, no. Hey, that didn't sound right.
Exactly. Never. It just doesn't happen. Now, from this point, I want to make it appear as if I've taken these 2 coins from the fingertips to bring them up to chest height from the palm up hand. The problem with this situation is that I have the insert of the flipper trapped between between the fingers, between the middle and the ring finger. So that would make that impossible. So what I really need to do is I need to get this out of the way so that I can then show the open flipper coin. The way I choose to do that is I'm going to finger palm the expanded shell. At the same time, I'm going to place my thumb on the shell of the flipper coin and retrieve the insert, and then I'll dig my thumb underneath and I'll bring it all to the fingertips, finger palming this and then bringing these 2 coins into view. So it'll look like this. Okay? One more time. I'll do it exposed view. I curl in, I finger palm this. As I push down on the shell, retrieve the insert of the flipper, my thumb goes underneath and brings everything to the fingertips. All right? Then I'll transfer the open flipper coin to the fingertips in preparation to get them to light the lighter again. Of course, the shell's here. As I grab the 3rd piece of flash paper by the ball, and as I light, I'm going to come up towards the face, allow the flash paper to fall, and then push this to the fingertips. If you want, you can do it from a position like the JW grip, but I don't think it's necessary. Finger palm will work just fine. All right, so again. What is this flash paper made out of? So it's like that. So you get 3 coins at the fingertips. Any questions about that? Oh, thank you. So what I do is I say if I hold the coins in the hand, the heat from the hand will cause the coin to vanish. And in doing so, I'm going to allow my thumb, the situation from the back is that the expanded shell is uppermost and closest to myself, and then I have the flipper coin with the insert of the flipper coin as the middle coin. My thumb will pull the expanded shell at a diagonal towards the palm of the hand and out of view, while I keep the fingers together. That way there's no way for the coin to be seen from the audience's point of view. At the same time, I tip the hand towards myself as I pretend to grab the coin, so it'll look like I'm doing that, which gets a nice visual retention of the coin going into the other hand.
I like that so much better than coming in front of it, which is pretty typical.
Yeah. So you pretend to grab it.
Wow.
It goes into the other hand. And now you're in this Slidini-esque position. Because the problem that I have with a lot of people who are doing coin magic is this situation. Notice how I'm holding the coin at the fingertips. If I didn't have a coin here, this is what you would see. It looks like I'm holding on to a vernet thumb tip, right? That's the only way anything could be here. But if I was really going to take a coin and hold it into the hand like this, the thumb would have to be behind to keep the coin in that position. So if I was really going to grab it, it would hold like this. So I want to emulate that with this false transfer to make it appear as if I really have something in the hand. Because if you do it this way, not as deceptive, all right? So from this point, I crumble the hand or close the hand, and I communicate the actions of crumbling the coin down into nothing as I show that it has vanished, all right? And I take my time with that. Now what I'm going to do is I want to close the flipper coin in preparation for the next nest. So I'm going to use the free hand to openly take the open flipper coin as I finger palm the expanded shell, and I'm going to turn around so you can see this exposed view. As the hands come together, it's just going to look like I've taken the coins one into each hand. What really takes place in this hand is I'm going to allow the flipper coin to begin closing and clip it just for a moment between the index finger and the middle finger as I allow the thumb to slide out of the way so it closes the flipper coin, and then I put my thumb back on it and let the index finger get out of the way so I hold it with the middle finger and the thumb. Up to speed, that sequence just looks like that. The other hand, my right hand, your left hand if you're right-handed, comes directly in front as that sequence happens, and then my thumb comes underneath and pushes it to the front. So up to speed from the front, you show the two coins, and it just looks like you're showing the coins individually. And I like to leave them on the thumb so the audience can see that there's nothing in the hand. So up to speed again, you'll see the action. It just looks like I've taken one coin into each hand. So more or less, it should look like you're doing that. Okay? Now I'm going to take the closed flipper coin and place it in front of but behind the expanded shell. Oh, I'm sorry, behind but above the expanded shell in preparation to nest. Then, here's another really cool and magical moment. I got this from Nate Cranzo, is if you light the lighter and you place the coins just above it, as you shake, you can nest the flipper coin and it looks like one melts directly into the other because it is melting into the other. Genius, in my opinion. So now, again, you're in a situation where you can show this completely free because of the nature of the OXF gimmick. And now this is an idea that both Chad Long and I use. It's the two-way toss with fire from Jay Sankey. The idea is that I'm going to light this flash paper and toss the flash paper towards the palm of the hand. At the same time, I'm going to toss this flipper coin into the other hand into finger palm position. But because of the nature of the flash paper, and because this hand will remain essentially stationary, it'll look like the coin completely vanishes. I'll do it up to speed so you can see it, if you don't mind.
Eric, I have a question on that because I've worked with that. Do you find when you're practicing that your focus is more on getting the coin? You kind of just let the flash paper do what it does?
Great question. My focus when I do the move, first off, is don't burn myself. That's always the biggest thought. But I am only concentrating on catching the coin. So I'm going to toss the flash paper towards the hand, but I don't care if it actually touches the hand or if it lands here, 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 or here, anywhere but here. So I toss it towards the hand, and I'm just going to toss this over just a little bit, and I try to get it in the same path so that they cross the streams a little bit. A nice Ghostbusters reference there. I toss it towards, and I catch. The other important thing, a lot of people that I've seen do this when they go to catch the coin, is they leave this hand either here at waist level or stagnant by the side. I find that draws attention to the place where you're holding out, when all you have to do is give it a little bit of motion. This is a thing I see J. Scott Berry do quite a bit. So you toss, and just that little action adds a little bit more naturalness to make it seem as if the hand is really empty. So again, you toss over, then I'll open the hands, show the hand front and back. Now from this point, I place the coin from a fingertip rest position into a classic palm position. Because there are some people who might suggest, or think that the coin is in the other hand, even though this is a very compelling distraction, or a way to make it seem as if the coin's not there. From that point, what I do is a palm-to-palm equipment or transfer or hand washing sequence, which looks like that, as I point to the purse. And all I'm doing is the coin is in classic palm. I place the crotch of the hand here as I rub this hand. And I'm going to come into an exposed view. As I come forward, I'm going to allow the flipper coin and shell to fall into the finger palm. As I place this hand flat, I curl the fingers in on this hand, and as we turn over, we show the other hand as I massage the other hand. So up to speed, it's a very, very casual sequence. And then so up to speed, the coin vanishes. I show that there's nothing here, and if you don't mind, would you pick up the coins? Oh, I should mention, this is something that I use a lot. Garrett Thomas uses it a lot. We all got it from Gary Kurtz. The idea of leaving a coin on the palm of the hand so that one hand is seen ostensibly empty, the other one is implied empty. The hands mirror one another. You see the back of the hand in between the fingers. The person here, I'm making sure that I'm far enough back that they can only see between the fingers, but again, it feels like they're seeing both hands empty, so that when I drop this hand by the side and I indicate that the coins are now in the purse, they get to do that. My hands have been seen empty, and if you don't mind, you can do that. And I usually take the lighter back, show the hands empty, drop this into the pocket, and I leave it there until they ask me for the lighter back. If they don't, I don't need to borrow a lighter when I do it at the next table. All right? Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Patrick, did you get your lighter?
No.
You got to ask him.
No.
He's not going to give it to you.
I'm not.
You sure? Yeah? He's not going to give it to you.
You'll be waiting for a while.
That's
bro.
right.
So guys, any questions? Any questions about anything we've talked about so far?
I think we're good.
Also, yes. Yeah, there's a
Oh,
question
we got
here.
a question over there. Yeah.
Was that part of the full Penn and Teller routine?
It was not a part of the Penn and Teller routine. The routine did use a flipper coin and a turtle, but it didn't have the flash paper. That's something we're going to talk about a little bit later on in the evening, if that's cool. Yeah, awesome. But great question. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Any others? Then let's talk about one of my favorite plots in Magic, coins across. Does anybody do coins across in the room?
Anybody who works with coins, right? Yeah.
What I want to do is go over 3 of my favorites, and that routine will be a part of those. I'm going to do 3 routines, and they have pros and cons to each. I'm going to start off with my workhorse, the one that I use the most often when I'm performing for friends, for family, in a impromptu situation where I don't have any coins. I'll borrow 4 quarters and do what you're about to see. It's an effect that, again, does use 4 solid silver American half dollars from the turn of the last century. The idea is really simple. One at a time, you'll see the 4 coins as I render them invisible, toss them into the air, and they'll land in the other hand. Thank you. Thank you. We'll try it again. Try it again. Remember, 1 coin here, 2 coins here. Watch this one. Goes up. And you get 2 and 2. I'm going to come a little closer to you guys, only because I don't have anyone sitting here. If you don't mind, could you examine the coins and make sure, well, watch the grate, but make sure everything looks exactly as it should?
Yeah.
Excellent. And if you don't mind, I'll come to you as well. Would you mind examining these two? Make sure they are exactly what they look like. Yep. Perfect. Thank you so much. We'll try it again. Remember 2 here, 2 to go. Which leaves 1, 2, and 3. We'll try it again. We'll leave these here for just a second and watch the last one. Goes up, comes down, and lands beside its partners here on the table. It's a triplet flip. Now, I always change the way the last one ends up. If I have a spectator here, would you mind sitting beside me for just a moment? I'll show you another way I do this sometimes. Do me a favor, you can examine those two, make sure they're everything they appear to be, everything copacetic with them. If you don't mind, then you can examine those, make sure they look good. Yeah. So with 2 coins have traveled across, watch the next one. It goes up, comes down, lands in your hand. Would you mind showing 1, 2, and 3 coins? Everything cool? Yeah. You can drop them right back and just close your hand around them. Yeah. If you watch the last one, I'll toss it up, give it a kick, and it ends up inside of your hand to join the other 3. Here's another way that I do the same thing. So let's say I've got the 1, 2, 3 coins. Go ahead and close your hand around those. Magic. Oh, there it is. Don't worry about it. I'll get it. It's okay. But watch. Magic. But don't worry about it. It's okay. We'll do it again. Watch. So you got 3? Close your hand slow. Only 3?
1, 2, 3.
Watch. And it landed in your hand? Oh, I'm sorry. It made a detour. It landed on your shoulder. Hey! It took 3 times. So if you don't mind, you go back to your seat, but I'm going to call you back up in just a second, and we'll talk about a little bit of what happened there. So this is, like I said, it's a workhorse. I do it all the time. The basis for this routine is a routine that's on The Complete Introduction to Coin Magic by Michael Lamar. It's the very first video that I saw back before there were DVDs and downloads, back when it was on a VHS tape. And I watched it so many times that it got stuck in my videotape player. I love it. Michael Lamar, I've got a man crush on you. I just want you to know. So, Classic Palm is the only thing that you really need for this routine because it's used for every coin's travel from hand to hand. I call this routine peregrination only because it's the biggest word that I could find to call travel from place to... Anyway, so 4 coins. The first one goes into Classic Palm position, and I step the other 4 coins towards the fingertips so that when I turn the hand palm down, you hear the coins fall against the fingers, but 1 coin remains in Classic Palm. I bring these coins to the fingertips and I toss them into the other hand so that you can see coins fly, but you can't see how many. It's absolutely impossible. And it really does look as if all of the coins are there. As long as I don't allow any tension, I'm not showing any tension or stiffness in this hand, there's nothing to indicate that I might be holding out. From this point, you're going to do essentially a hangpin chin. I'm going to allow all of my contents to fall out of the hand as I turn the hand palm up, rotating at the forearm and the wrist. But I keep the hand closed as if I might be still concealing a coin here. The audience knows that 3 + 1 = 4. So use logic against them. I blow into the fist. I pantomime crumbling the coin at the fingertips, toss it into the air. I follow it with my eyes. I show the other hand as I point. Then I use that same open Classic Palm position. Now the hand is at about a 45-degree angle, maybe a little bit more. But I'm not grabbing the coin. It's ready to go into Classic Palm position if I need to, but it just sits there. I catch, and then I come forward, I open the fingers, and I allow the coin to slide out onto the table. That's the first one. While they react to that, I grab the other 3 coins and place them back into that same position. Classic Palm coin, that coin is in Classic Palm position, ready to go whenever I'm ready. As I turn the hand palm down, I allow these 2 to fall down. I toss them into the other hand, and I jingle. I'm going to show a single coin here with the other one in Classic Palm. If you have learned this skill, you can also do a coin roll while doing a Classic Palm. You can also do a coin roll on the inside of the hand. If you want to get a nice close-up, I'll try it. Yeah, that's 5 years of my life, bro. 5 years. So yeah, you do the classic palm, but you want to be careful. If you have an audience members over here, they're going to see the coin in classic palm. So what I'll do is I'll tilt my entire body. Your feet start directly under your shoulders. By taking a step back on your right foot, without changing much, by changing at the torso much, you put yourself in a position where the palm of the hand is now outside of their field of vision, so that you can do a coin roll, and then as you come back, it brings your body back into that position, so that now you're ready to go back into it, if that makes sense. Now, from this point, I can show one coin here, close that into the fist. Let me talk about this, because this is a problem that I've had with coins across for years. Most people, when they have a coin in classic palm, one in the fingertips, they leave the hand open like this. They'll indicate that the coin goes up and allow you to see the coin as it falls. The logic that they have is that you not only see the coin as it falls from the hand, you see it as it goes through the back of the hand, through the palm, and into the hand. In my opinion, you showed them how the trick worked. They see the coin fall from the classic palm position, which is the last place they saw it. So you're really giving them an indication of how the trick worked. And I've never been a fan of that. So what I opt to do is place one coin in classic palm, one in a high finger palm position, and then by curling the fingers in, placing that coin into finger palm, allow the fingertips to cover the coin. What that does is it leaves the same amount of space between the classic palm coin and the coin that's in finger palm. That way you can also show the hand palm up. So 360 degrees, you're still able to do the same routine whenever you want to cause the coin to arrive. By jerking the hand downward sharply, it helps dislodge the coin from classic palm without having to move the muscles at all. And you get the clink. And it's just as pronounced as if you were doing it that way. All right? So, they think there are 3 coins here. It goes up, comes down. You get 2 and 2. Now what I want to do is I can just shuttle one coin across, but I want the last 2 to be really clean, or especially the last one to be really clean. So what I'm going to do is what I've published as an in the hands hang pin chin. So what I do is I show both hands, 2 coins in each. I allow these coins to be examined. You take them into your hands and you examine them. When I take these coins back, I'm going to come a little closer to you. I'm going to turn this hand palm down, closing and squeezing these 2 coins into classic palm. As I close this hand, I leave them in a position where they can fall out of the hand. As I turn my head to you, I say, would you mind doing me a favor? And I lift this hand. And as the hands come together, I turn the hand palm up, leaving it in a cap subtlety. As I drop these 2 coins, jingle, and then toss them over. I don't think the camera got to see it, so I'm going to do it again. The 2 coins are here. As I turn this hand palm up, I drop the 2 coins, I turn the hand palm down, and I hand them to the spectator here, so it feels like they're seeing 2. So actually, would you mind sitting here for just a moment? That way we can get this all in one frame. Perfect. So they see 2 and 2. Would you mind examining those 2 coins? Make sure they are exactly what they seem to be. Everything look copacetic? Can I ask for a favor? Would you mind examining these 2? Make sure they are what they look like as well. I take these 2 coins back, and now I'm 2 ahead in this hand, and this hand is completely empty. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. All right? So now I'm 2 ahead, 2 in classic palm, 2 at the fingertips. I close my hand into that same position, toss up, come down, and I allow one of the 2 coins to fall against the palm. And depending on where you are at this moment will determine how you end. Because I didn't have a spectator here, what I did was I allowed the coin that was in classic palm to fall against the stack as I gather, and I leave them here. If I had people sitting close to me, what I would do is I would leave the coins covered and then bring everyone's attention up and take a step back. That brings everyone's attention up and away from the coins, and because I'm not showing any guilt, because I'm not doing anything to indicate that I'm hiding these coins, all of their attention would naturally follow here. They saw the 3 coins on the table. They see that I've left them on the table. So now the point of focus, the point of reference, is the hand that they assume has a coin. From this point, all I have to do is pantomime, causing the coin to crumble, fly through the air. I indicate that it lands onto the table with my finger, and then just by giving it a little kick, the coins disperse, and you end up with all 4. All right, that's the first way. Can I borrow you just one more time? Come on up. Another way to do this is you are already 1 ahead. The audience believes that you have 1 coin here. What I'll then do is I'll take these 3 coins, have you open your hand, and then I'll place 1, 2, 3 coins onto the palm of their hand. They examine the 3 coins until their heart is content. They place them back onto the palm of the hand. I place this coin into a front finger hold, and I tap. Do me a favor, if you don't mind, close your hand around those. Now, the audience member doesn't get to see that I've now added a coin to the palm of the hand for a couple of reasons, if you don't mind opening again. The first reason is because I tap this coin in front finger hold against the coins that they already have. When I'm ready to leave it, they can't feel the change in weight. I'm jingling the coins. This never touches their skin. I'm only touching the other coin, so there's no way for them to feel that I've added another coin. The other reason is because the back of my hand, the palm of my hand, blocks their vision as I ask them to close their hand around the coins. And I only come away once I ensure that the hand is closed. So the question is, why do I do it that way? Why don't you just do it like this, like sponge balls? And you close and turn over and that. That is assault. Yeah. That's what that is. The other thing about that is it creates suspicion. Your audience will instantly ask, well, why did he put me into that position specifically? They want to know what's inside of their hand, which often causes them to open their hands a little early. So by, if you don't mind, they have conviction, if you don't mind opening again, that they have 3 coins. Do me a favor and just close your hand around those coins. Don't let me in, all right? Now they have conviction that they only have 3, and they know that 3 plus 1 equals 4. So now I can cause this coin to vanish any way that I want to end up inside of their hand. Now, 3 times. 3 times. During the show, it took me 3 opportunities to get the coin to end up on the shoulder. That's my fault. And here's something that you have to remember. Anytime you screw up, it's always your fault. All right? What I did is I chose someone who I thought the hoodie wasn't going to be in the way, and it did get in the way a little bit. That it caused the coin to slide once to the back, once to the front. But what I usually do is I'll place the coin in one of 2 positions, either in a front finger hold, which is the exact opposite of back palm, and I'll place the coin onto their shoulder, and I'll leave the middle finger and the ring finger there until I'm ready to leave the coin. That way I know it's going to stay in position. If it does slide, if it slides forward, I know that my index finger or my pinky can grab it to bring it back up. The other thing I can do is I can leave it on the classic palm, which is what I did in the show, and usually it stays. It took me 3 times, and I apologize for that, but that's what happens when you're working live, right? So the coin will stay there. You have them close their hands around it. Again, pantomime the actions of causing the coin to vanish and end up inside of their hand. They'll see that there aren't 4 coins, there are only 3, and they'll say, oh, you know what, I missed the mark just a little bit, and it ended up on their shoulder. Now, sometimes, if I'm in a situation where I can play with them a little bit, I'll do this. I say, oh, so there's the coin, and I'll do this. Watch this, because it's kind of cool. Watch the coin. I don't get a coat.
You don't.
Dan. I don't get a coat. So before the show, guys, Dan and I made a bet. They said if a single coin hits the floor, ends up anywhere that I don't get to get that really nice jacket that Dan's wearing. Yeah. I want another shot. But so let's get back to this. So what I'll end up doing is this kind of a thing. You can leave it there. Do me a favor and take a look. Watch. If I snap the fingers, I can make it appear as if the coin crumbles down so small that you can barely even see it, and it ends up back on your shoulder. No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. I'll do it again. Do me a favor and cup your hands a little close to yourself. Now, actually, a little bit further out, though. And if you watch, I can take the coin.
I jinxed you.
We'll call it that.
Yeah. Yeah. You made a deal with the Daniel.
Honestly, it's a really cool sequence. You know what? I think it would work with you. Would you mind? And I'm going to get you to go back to your seat for just a moment, because I think this is a really cool sequence. And it usually works. If you don't mind taking the vest off, is that going to be a problem?
Not at all.
Okay, awesome. And if you don't mind, roll your sleeves back just a little bit. Perfect. No, that's perfect. Excellent. If you don't mind, examine the coin. Make sure it is exactly what it seems to be.
It seems to be a 50-cent piece.
You're right. And if you don't mind, open your hand and just leave your hand right about there. I'm going to see if I can take the coin. Watch the coin. If I give it a little squeeze, I can make it appear as if it vanishes. It doesn't go far. It just jumps down to your wrist. I apologize. We won't try that again, but watch. See if we can get it again. It doesn't stop at the palm or the wrist. It travels up to the elbow, all the way up to the, kind of cool, yeah? If I take it again, we can get it to vanish one more time, and it travels back. Right over here. Here's the best part.
No one ever gets the coat.
Still human. Good to know. No one gets the coat. We'll try one more time. Oh, it ends up inside of your pocket there.
Pocket?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh. You didn't see me when I loaded it when you came up? Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. All the way to the bottom, I'm pretty sure.
Nope.
I'll hold on to these for you. Yeah. Oh, the Walk in Liberty $50 coin.
Way too much junk in there.
Are you sure it's not in
I'm
there?
positive it's not in there.
Did you think it would be?
Not really.
No, neither did I. No, it did go to your pocket. It did go to your pocket, just not that one. It went to this one.
Okay.
The part I like about this the most, I'm going to leave this here for a second. The interesting thing about that is that I'm supposed to take the coin here and toss.
Yeah. That's good.
Get it to look like it vanishes. So I'll talk about this. I'm not touching any nipples. I'm not being inappropriate at all. But it is your birthday, isn't it? So this is part of a body loading sequence that I play around with anytime I'm working for people who've seen me perform, or if we're really having a good time and I really don't care. Magic is a great art form, but it's really just another excuse to meet another human being, to connect with them. So once you've gotten past the point that, yes, I do magic, yes, I'm amazing, but you're amazing too. Let's be amazing together, So once you get past that and you start having fun with them, things like this can happen. And that's how this routine developed. I was working in restaurants and I was doing body loading sequences on people. I was dropping things into their pocket. I would have them sign a coin and then their coin would end up inside of their friend's pocket, or things like this. It's got a lot of inspirations. There's work from Greg Wilson, from Apollo Robbins, from Shutagawa, from Slidini. So instead of, we're pretty much done talking about the coins across, unless there are questions about that. No? Now let's talk about this quick body loading sequence. I start off by showing the hands empty other than the coin, then I give the spectator the coin to hold on to. Now I'm left-handed, so I have to work from the spectator's right side at the outset. The only requirement is that they have a top pocket, which you didn't, and that hoodie. You and that hoodie.
and his very sharp shoulders. He almost has pyramid shoulders,
I didn't want to say that, Dan.
Yeah,
don't do that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
He's got good body tone and stuff like that. There is no flat area on his shoulder.
No, almost none. I was going to buy you some shoulder pads before this thing started, but it's cool. It's cool. So I have him examine the coin. When I take the coin back, I immediately do a classic palm false transfer. All right? I use my index finger here, and I wrap my hand around his wrist to place him into the position I want him in, which will allow me to make sure that the forearm is flat enough to keep the coin there on the forearm, on the wrist rather, like so. Then I bring his attention up and I say, keep your eyes on the coin, and I show him an empty palm. I pantomime closing the hand around the coin, tossing it into the air, and I indicate that it lands on the wrist. When I'm doing this trick for women, you have to be really careful because when they see it, I don't know why, but it's such a personal thing that when they see it, they always jump, which causes the coin to fall to the floor. So the first thing I do is I grab them and I take the coin back to make sure the coin doesn't fall to the floor. All right. Then I do another classic palm false transfer. I place my hand on their shoulder, leaving the coin there, and then I come back into this position. All of the heat is going to be here because they're going to assume I'm going to try to do the same trick for them again. So I separate the hand, I come away, and I tell them to keep their eye on the coin. They always keep their eyes right here. So as I come up, they'll see that there's no coin, so now the heat goes to the hand. From that point, I pretend to make the coin vanish, and I say it stops here. But no, it doesn't stop there. It hits the wrist, and I'm very deliberate in my actions as I show that it comes all the way up and lands here on the shoulder, and I place my thumb and my middle finger as if I'm framing the coin in their vision. Now, if you were to take your index finger and put it here, and then you look away, you won't be able to see your index finger on your shoulder. It's just outside of your peripheral vision. But if you're looking there, you'll be able to see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an old move from Slidini. He would do it with a ball that was sitting on the top of the pocket to make it appear as if you've taken that ball out so that he can cause it to go back in the context of his paper balls over the head routine. I'm just going to do it with a coin. So I'm showing that there's a coin there. I'm going to cover it with my fingers, place my thumb underneath as if I was going to pick it up. And then I'll bring this hand forward to draw his attention here. And then I'll come up as if I have the coin and then pretend to place it into the hand. So up to speed, it would look like this. If you don't mind, take a look at the coin and watch. The coin goes back and travels back to your shoulder. Now, I don't want him to touch it, so I place my fingers here, and then I'm going to cross his body, grab the coin, and as I straighten my posture, as I go from this position to this position, I'm going to hit him in the back. I usually do it twice. And as I do that, I drop the coin into his top pocket. The reason I hit him a couple of times is I want his chest to rattle so that as the coin flicks his nipple on the way down, he doesn't feel it.
That's a pro tip.
So now it would seem as if I have a coin. I'll toss that coin into the air, and then we go through the byplay with the pocket, and then I indicate that the coin is in the pocket here. He reaches in, he pulls the coin out, if you don't mind. Depending on the type of person that you're working for, if they're wearing a more slimly fit shirt, oh, thank you so much, this becomes a little bit more difficult. So what I would tell you to do in those instances, I'm just gonna pull this a little. It really is your birthday. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place this really close. I'm gonna do an exposed view so you can see this. You notice how I'm holding it with the middle finger and thumb, and what that does is it puts a little bit of a gap between the bottom fingers and the coin. So as I slide, I want to place the pinky right at the edge there. So as I tap, the coin goes in. I left that exposed a little bit, like so. So the coin goes right in. Thank you. So it just goes right across, so I can toss and make it vanish. Any questions about that? Yeah? No? Okay, so the next part of the sequence, from this point, I have them cup their hands, and I show my hands close to my body, which is what we were doing just a moment ago. And then I say, you know what? I want you to hold your hands out further out. And as I do so, I go from their sternum to above their head as I ask them to hold their hands out. Now, what they're concentrating on is the action of extending the arms, but they'll be looking at their hands as that happens. And because I'm going at an angle up, I leave the hand here as I toss the coin over the head, and then two things will happen at once. I'm going to place this coin onto the shoulder as I pretend to place the coin here, and it vanishes once more. I then indicate that the coin ends up back on their shoulder. They look, they see the coin. I tap them again, make it vanish again, and then at this point, if I feel so inclined, I don't have a jumbo coin on me, but what I would sometimes do is have them open their hand again. They reach in, they grab this, and then I would do a shuttle and change this into a jumbo coin. This is just as good, actually. But,
right.
But any questions about that sequence, guys? No? Then awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We were talking a little bit earlier. You don't need that, do you? We were talking a little earlier about accosting our audience members and how a moment in magic can feel a little bit like assault, right? What I'd like to do now is show you a routine that I have been doing literally for years. There's not a lot special about the routine, but I think I've solved a couple of problems that I've had with the routine. Have we ever met before? No? What's your name again? Remind me?
Melissa.
Melissa, would you mind joining me on stage, Melissa? Yeah. Guys, give Melissa a round of applause. Thank you so much, Melissa. How are you? Come right on around. Where are you from?
Columbus.
Oh, awesome. Is that where they grow? I just happened to see one, and you never know. Have you ever seen one of those before? Mm-hmm. So, like a clown nose. It just doesn't have the little slit in it. If you could examine it, make sure it's exactly what it seems to be.
It is.
Everything cool with it?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you a trick that I usually only show for the ladies. It's a really old illusion. Almost as old as time itself. But sometimes people do it with a box. Asexual reproduction.
That is
Thank you. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, if you don't mind. Take your index finger and touch either ball. It doesn't make a difference which. Don't kill it, just touch it. You sure that's the one you want?
Yes.
I can't convince you to choose that one.
No.
What if I said please?
No.
So that's how it's going to be. Do me a favor, open your hand, just like this. I want you to squeeze the ball into your hand and hold it directly in front of you. Perfect. Move your thumb over a little bit. I'm going to take this ball and put it right on top. Now I want you to squeeze tight because I'm going to try to get this ball into your hand without you feeling it, without you all seeing it. Sound pretty cool?
It does.
Now be honest. Did you feel the ball go in?
No.
Good. I haven't done it yet. I'm just making sure you're paying attention. That's the only thing. We'll try it again. We'll try it again. I'll come a little closer. Watch. There's a joke that I'm not going to use. But did you feel the ball go in?
What's the joke?
Oh.
It's because my son is right there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's why. But watch, if you notice, the ball has completely vanished. And if you don't mind.
Oh.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Out of respect for you, I'm not going to do it. So, this is a really cool routine. I forgot to put one little part in there, but you get the basic idea. The reason I was talking about it creates suspicion when you place an object into their hand and then make them turn over and all of that crap. I never liked it. So what I wanted to do was come up with a way to do two things. Not create suspicion and keep the spectator from opening their hands prematurely. So everyone who's ever done sponges knows just about everything that I did. What I do want to go over is that one moment, the audience management moment, that allows them to know that they have one ball inside of their hand and one ball outside of their hand before the other one goes in. Can I borrow you one more time? Yeah, and thank you. I really appreciate the help earlier. So we get to the point, come on a little closer. I'm going to have one ball in my thumb palm. I get them, and I use their clavicle, their scapula, to place my hand just to give it something to do. Sometimes I'll place my hand here. Other times, if I'm working for a kid, I'll put my hand here. I think this is a Mark Leverage idea. But typically, I just leave my hand here. It's nice and normal. Sometimes I'll grab here and hold on to them this way, just leaving it either in a thumb palm or in a classic palm-like position. I get them to choose either one of the balls. It doesn't make a difference which. I ask them to open their hand, and as they do, I come forward, I take this ball, crumble it up, hold it with the index finger and thumb, and place it onto the palm of their hand. Now leave your hand open, because that's what a layman would do. They would leave their hand open. Right. They'd see one collapsed ball. They see one ball at the fingertips. Now I bring their attention forward to my hand as I ask them to close their hand around the ball as I pull my finger out. Then I get them to hold their hand out like so. And I take this ball and I place it right on top. Now here's what's going on, guys. Your audience is convinced that they have one ball. They also can see the other ball. They can also see my hands empty. But the most important part about this is the fact that they cannot possibly open their hand prematurely to see that there are two balls inside. It can't happen. All of their focus now, don't drop the ball. He doesn't get the code either.
No, I
don't. But their focus is on do not drop the ball. I don't want to look stupid up here. So from this point, I go through the joke. I place the ball openly into the hand, tap the hand, and I ask, did they feel the ball go in? They'll say no. I'll say no because I haven't done it yet. As they respond to that, I just do a false transfer. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I place my hand back on his scapula or onto the forearm, and I can hold it here. And then I do the whole thing where I place my thumb inside. That way I can get a really clean vanish. They turn their hand palm up, they open, and they get two balls, and the round of applause is for them. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions about anything that we've covered so far at all? No? Excellent. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back because we were saying that we were going to talk about coins across, and we ended up going on a bit of a tangent and a trick that I did out of sequence. But I was going to talk about 3 coins across routines that I do all the time. The first one is peregrination, which is a more standard version of coins across. The second is a trick that I almost never perform. And when I say I never perform it, I mean like I used to do it in restaurants, but it wasn't my A material. It wasn't my B-list material. It wasn't my C-list material. It was like F-list material. But I found that it's one of the more difficult routines that I perform. So what I use it for now is to warm myself up for other sleight of hand before I go on stage, because it is a very technically demanding routine. And I'll show you what it looks like. It's a trick with 3 coins. I'm not sure the lighting is quite right here. We'll see. Can you guys see all 3 coins? The idea is that one at a time you'll see, hopefully you won't, the 3 coins will travel from here to here. Did you see it go across? All right. The lighting might be a little bit better over here. We'll try it again. 3 coins. How about that time? Did you see it go across? No? Then we'll do it again. We'll do it again. There we go. So like I said, I don't perform this routine for people. I would never do this at a paid gig. But this is a routine that I use when I want to warm my hands up. I became a type 1 diabetic a few years ago, so my circulation isn't what it used to be. Even in a warm environment, sometimes my hands are a little clammy. So this helps get my hands warmed up and prepared to do some magic. So 3 coins are all you need. This is basically a 3-fly routine done with only 3 coins. No extra coins, no gimmicks. The uppermost coin is held closest to me, the lowermost coin furthest away. I'm going to hold the 3 coins with my thumb, my index, and my middle finger. My thumb will contact only the uppermost coin. The index finger will contact only the middle coin, and my middle finger will only contact the lowermost coin. I hold the coins with the hand palm up so that the coins are horizontal, and I'll pull down with my thumb or release with my middle finger. Those are the 2 sequences. The first one, I blame it on the lighting, and I'll slide over to one side or the other. And as I cock back and release, I'm just going to let go with my middle finger, which causes the coin to fly over from hand to hand. So you actually see the coin fly over. I'm like, that's not what I wanted. I don't want you to see it. So this time I'll emulate the same actions, but this time I pull down with the thumb, and it makes it look like the coins travel across a lot faster. And I'll come forward using what Gary Kurtz calls an active or relaxed state. As I come forward, I'll ask, did you see the coin as it traveled across? And as they answer, I'm going to relax and pretend that the audience is here. As I relax, I'm going to open the hand here, allowing this bottom coin of the 2 coins to fall into the hand as I push up with the thumb from the front, from here to here. And that gets the coin across. So I'll say, did you see the first coin as it traveled from here to here? No? Then I'll do it again. While they respond to that, I'm going to do the second difficult sequence in this routine. I'm going to shuttle one of these coins into this hand, and then this coin is going to go into finger palm. I'll perform the sequence. And what happens, we'll pretend that the audience is here. I'm going to apparently tap the coins like this. In doing so, once my forearm blocks this coin from view, it falls into the finger palm position. Then as I come forward, I'm going to grab this coin and then tap. That sequence looks like this. The back of the hand faces the audience, so you can't see that I only have 1 instead of 2 coins. So again. All right? The next action, I want it to sound like I've taken both of these coins and dropped them into the hand. I actually dropped this one into the one that's in finger palm. From the front, it's very Slidini-esque. And his coins across, he's got a moment where he shakes 3 coins this way and then does it with the hand here, even though the coins aren't in the hand. So I'm doing essentially the same thing. Let me get a good clink. Okay? From this point, I'm going to place my thumb under the 2 coins as I turn the hand palm down and allow them to rotate into a spellbound position, trying to keep them as silent as I can. I'll turn the hand palm up, holding the 2 coins as one, so you've got a double lift with coins. The thumb will slide down the back of the 2 coins, drawing 1 coin down to hide behind, like so. So one's hidden behind. To further solidify from the audience's point of view that there are 2 coins, even though I only have one, I do this. All I'm doing is clicking these 2 coins together, but it creates the sound spatially as if there might be 2 coins in the hand. I only do it 2 or 3 times. But that's enough to make them feel as if they're hearing. I'll bring it a little closer to the mic. Yeah? From this point, I just pretend to kick 1 coin up as I push this coin up. And then I show 2 and 1. The last move doesn't belong to me, but it's the most difficult part of this routine. It belongs to Chad Sanborn. He put out a routine years ago, and he calls this the toss, catch, vanish. Essentially, you have to be a Harlem Globetrotter in order to get this right on the first time. What's basically happening is you're keeping this hand as close to stationary as you can. It can move around just a little bit, but you want it essentially here. And what's going on is you're going to toss this coin into the air and allow it to land through the thumb hole of the fingers like this. Okay? What makes it deceptive is just before it falls through the thumb hole of the hand, the other hand comes to pretend to catch it out of the air. So it's here. So what makes it appear is if you caught the coin into the air. Now from this point, you've got the 1 coin in finger palm, 2 coins at the fingertips. You're going to squeeze the fingers against the coin, allowing it to rest at fingertip rest. Bring the hand into a palm down position so that you can add that coin to the 3 coin fan. And as you bring the coins into a vertical position like so, you pull the uppermost coin down. So from this point, here. That way you can toss and produce. So up to speed, 1 more time. That's the sequence. Thank you. For those of us who perform only with dollar-sized coins, you can still do the sequence, but you won't be able to flick the coin because 9 times out of 10 it'll land like this. It won't go through the thumb hole, and it'll fail every time. So what I would tell you to do is toss the coin so that either the head or the tail faces the audience and let it go into the thumb side of the hand like a slot machine. Because if it falls in that way, it's not going to work. But if it goes in like that, then it's a lot easier. Yeah. Any questions about?
Why wouldn't you perform that for a paid gig?
The question is, why don't you perform it for paid gigs anymore?
Oh, that's a great question. I appreciate that. What's the easy way to say this? My name is Eric Jones, not Shutagawa. I don't work any harder than I have to. I subscribe to the school. Oh, you're lighter. I subscribe to the school of thought that if a certain amount of moves accomplishes a magic trick in the best possible way, then you learn those moves. But you only learn those moves if it creates a very clean effect. But I don't learn hard magic just for hard magic's sake ever. Shutagawa loves hard magic, and he's amazing at it. But it's not my cup of tea. When I was creating this routine, I was studying Shutagawa magic. So it came about during that time in my life. And I was performing it then, but since then I've moved away from difficult sleight of hand in lieu of gimmicked magic and less difficult sleight of hand that accomplishes the same thing just as well. So while it's a fun thing to practice, a great thing to get the blood flowing, it's not something that I share with audiences anymore, unless they've seen every other possible trick that I know how to do.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate that, man. Any others?
And we got a question over here. Can we get the microphone up front? While that microphone's being passed, I'll tell you, with this kind of routine, I know for a fact what the problem is, because most people don't know this about me, but if you go way, way back to my early work, I was doing some really challenging things with back palms and Hagping Chen's into back palm and that kind of stuff. And when you get really, really good at it and you make it look smooth and easy, it doesn't get the reaction for that amount of work that you've put into it that you can get by other means. And it sort of takes you out of your mindset. It's better to be able to interact with the audience than constantly being worried about the knuckle-busting moves. That routine, I'll tell you what, Eric, that routine is absolutely the best three-fly version that I've ever seen. But it would take probably 15 more years to get so comfortable with it
It'll
that
take
no
me
one
another
would know that
15
you were
years.
working that hard. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Right. We have a question up front.
As you mentioned, concentrating on gimmicks again, it made something fire in my mind. I was really curious about, as somebody budget-minded, I'd love to get your OxiClean coins, but as someone that has just a normal flipper and a normal shell and is working with what they can get, do you feel it's worthwhile to try and approach those routines with those, or is it better to just wait and get the coins that were just designed to make it so much smoother?
First off, that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. The answer is that you do what you. First off, there's no wrong answer. If you have to start off with a Tango or a Johnson, nothing wrong with those. Those coins, the lower end manufactured coins, they're great starter coins. They're the ones you want to use that are going to take a lot of beating. That way, when you work your way up to the Schoolcraft, when you work your way up to the Coopers, when you work your way up to the Lassens, you're going to be able to take much better care of those because you've already had experience. Like your first car is not going to be a friggin' Lamborghini. You're going to wreck it and you're going to be pissed. So get something that you can beat up, But Johnson doesn't make a gravity flipper coin. But you can cheat a Johnson flipper coin to act as if it was a more expensive gravity flipper. The way you do that is by diminishing the life of the rubber band that's in it. Now, this is a gravity flipper coin, but if you can get a really tight view of that band, I hope you guys can see that. Yeah? Now, on a Johnson flipper, the band is going to be on the outside. There's going to be a groove just there, and that's where the band is going to wrap all the way around, and it's going to get attached to this insert. What you do is you would take the coin, hold it here, and then pull. Pull just enough to loosen that gravity flipper rubber band so that it's loose. And after maybe 5 or 6 stretches, it'll do that. The problem is in the 2 areas where you've pulled, that area is a lot weaker. So it's going to diminish the life of the rubber band by about 50%. So you'll have to replace it twice as fast, but you will be able to get the actions of a gravity flipper for a lot less. It's what I did before I knew about a gravity flipper.
Yeah, and then as far as the expanded shell going over it, you simply can't flip it up into the air, but you can still spin it in your fingertips.
Also, yeah. The thing with mine is that you have the shim and the magnet inside of it, but you don't need that. The only thing that you need.
The flipper advice is what exactly it is.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
This is a lot of problems. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. But like I was saying, the only thing that that the OXF really does for you is the clean display of the flipper coin and the shell together, which only happens at one point during my OXF, the OxiClean coin routine, and for that one moment during the, I've got it in my pocket, during that one moment during Flash Coins Relit. And the way I used to do this is with just a regular shell and just a regular flipper, and I left the flipper and the shell mouth up. And as I tossed the two, I would try to keep the flipper coin mouth up, and I would try to catch it and squeeze it directly into the classic palm so that it didn't talk. Every once in a while, the flipper would dislodge, and I'd have to squeeze it back in while I patter, and I'd take 2 or 3 steps back and hide in fear. So the second this became available, it made life a lot easier for me. God, great questions, guys. I really appreciate that. Quite often, I'm in a situation where people ask me about angles. What's considered angling? Some people consider the Tenkai palm angling. Because they don't have a general concept about angle sensitivity. Like, for instance, this is a really wide room. There are certain techniques that if I was to perform it, for instance, if this was my performing area and I use JW grip, you guys on the extreme ends will probably be able to see the coin. I wrote an essay not too long ago called Spectatorial Triangulation, a.k.a. Take a Friggin' Step Back. Geometry was the only subject in school I had any issues with. And I said to myself, I'll never friggin' use it, and I was so wrong. In geometry, there are a bunch of angles, but we're going to discuss 3. the acute angle, the obtuse angle, and the right angle. So imagine your performing space. Let's say either here on the table, here at waist level, or up at chest height. If you were to take the right eye of the spectator furthest to your left and the left eye of the spectator furthest to your right, that creates an angle. Yeah? So your two eyes to my performing space here, here, or here. In this instance, it creates an obtuse angle, which is horrible for magic. Anything over 90 degrees can be horrible for magic. But by taking one military step back, I can change that to a right angle. So at this point, there's no way I can worry about flashing. That's perfect for this. If you take another step back or more space back, the angle becomes acute, which is why stage manipulation stuff looks really good on stage and it looks horrible from close-up because of those angles that they have to get for some of those body steals, for some of those angles that they have to get for some of the manipulation that they use, but not just along this x-axis, also along the y-axis. If you take the top of the head of your tallest spectator, the bottom of your chin of your shortest spectator, and again, your performing space, creates an angle. If it's an obtuse one, take one military step back, it'll change it to a 90-degree angle so that you can get a better handle on angles. Does that make sense? Any questions about that?
Makes perfect sense.
Perfect, excellent. Then I want to do one quick trick, and then we'll go over it in its entirety. Do you guys have TV? Yeah? I was on a television show a few months ago with two magicians that you may have heard of. Their names are Penn and Teller. There's a really tall guy and a really short guy that doesn't talk. On their television show on the CW network, magicians from all over the world get together and they try to fool the dynamic duo. If they figure out how your trick works, you get a pat on top of the head and they send you on your way. If you fool them, if they can't figure out how your magic trick works, you get to perform in Las Vegas at the Rio on their stage. Only a few magicians have done it, and I'm one of the lucky ones who was able to get by them. If you got a minute, I'd like to show you what I did on that show, if you're not doing anything. There is an issue with what you're about to see. And that issue is that the trick that you're about to see is designed for just a few people. And since there are so many of you, I've asked two people that I'd never met before to come up and help me. Would you guys mind joining me? Give them a round of applause as they make their way out. Remind me of your name?
Betsy.
Betsy, please have a seat here. And you have to get your own chair, bro. Your name?
Covey.
Covey, good to see you. Bring the chairs in nice and close if you don't mind. This is going to be interesting. What I first want you to do is examine the 4 coins and make sure they are exactly what they seem to be. Everything look good? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You all will be the eyes and the ears of the audience. Kofi, it'll be your job to make sure nothing goes up the sleeve. It'll be your job to make sure nothing goes up the sleeve. Maestro, if you don't mind, you'll play the music, and I hope you guys enjoy this piece of magic. I'll ask you, can you physically, or visibly, rather, see all 4 coins on the palm of the hand?
Yes.
That's it. Can you see all 4?
Yes.
Excellent. Now, I know what some of you might be saying. It's almost like I can sense it. You're saying, it's just some of that sleight of hand crap. There could be some truth to that. However, the entire dynamic of this thing changes when the magic comes out of my hands and into someone else's. Are you willing to help?
Yes.
Are you left or right-handed?
Right.
Would you mind opening your right hand like a table? Right about here. We're going to move this one over a little bit. Perfect. Can you see all 3?
Yes.
And my 1. If you don't mind, take your left hand and cover the coins, creating a cave so you can see all 3 inside. And you can see mine. In a moment, I'll have you shake your 3. I'll shake mine. You guys will hear the moment the magic happens. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Shake. And listen to the sound the silver makes. Not in your hands, but in mine. Would you mind bring your hand towards the center of the table and dump the contents out and show them what you've got? Okay. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking we're working together, and if you're not, you really should be. Would you mind rolling your sleeves back? Would you mind showing the palm of your right hand to your audience? Allow your middle finger and thumb to slowly come together. Turn the hand at the wrist and then bring that hand directly above the table. Perfect. Would you then mind turning your left hand palm up and place it about 6 to 8 inches under the right? If you don't know, you don't know. You'll notice how I'm holding onto these 2 coins by their edges. That way I can't manipulate them in any way. Can I ask you to open your middle finger and thumb and you'll hold onto these 2 coins right by their edges. Get a good grip. Perfect. Can everyone see her too? And mine? In a moment, I'm going to ask you to drop those 2 coins onto the palm of your hand. It's important that you catch them. Don't let them hit the table or the floor. I'll do the same with my 2. 1 coin will become invisible, travel across the table to arrive inside of my hand. Does that sound like a pretty cool trick? Sound pretty interesting? Does that sound like a friggin' miracle or what? It's going to happen after 3, meaning 1, 2, 3, and then Geronimo. Taking a deep breath. Slowly exhale. 1, 2, 3. Guys, this means nothing. It means nothing unless there's 1, 2, and 3 coins. Now, up until this moment, I've tried to move as slowly as I can to keep everything as fair as possible. But I'm going to make a pact with you guys. If at any point, anyone in the room sees anything that looks tricky or suspicious, be a jerk. Look me right in the face and say, Eric, slow the hell down. Can we agree to that? Yeah. Let's all say it together. Eric, slow down. My kind of crowd. Would you mind opening your right hand? Can you see all 4 coins? Would you mind showing your left hand empty? Then if you don't mind gathering the coins on the center of your palm like a stack of poker chips and then show the hand empty again, then use just your middle finger and thumb to take only that top coin and place it onto the palm of my hand, and then close your hand around the others. And don't let me in, no matter what I try. Watch. If you don't mind, dump the contents on the table and show them what you've got. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Give these guys a round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You guys be careful on your way back to your seat. Guys, thank you so much. My name's Eric. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. You just saw what it looks like. Unfortunately, now you're going to get to see how it works. This is one of my favorite pieces of magic. In order to perform it, you need a couple of props. You're going to need 3 real coins. These are Walk-In Liberty half dollars, the same ones we've been using all evening. You also need a gravity flipper coin and an expanded shell. However, the gravity flipper coin is in play throughout the entire routine, but the expanded shell is in the pocket for the majority of the routine. I start off by handing the coins out to be examined, including the gravity flipper coin. The reason I let it be examined is because these coins are going to be on the table. I have the spectators make sure that nothing goes up my sleeve, that I don't move towards the edge of the table or anything like that. So those 4 coins are used throughout the entire routine. You have to have them examined, otherwise they're going to think you're up to something. People always say to me, well, you're letting them examine the gimmick. How do they not find it? Truth of the matter is, I've been doing this routine for about 12 years now, and I have never had anyone discover the gimmick. It's a lot harder to find than you might think. Like, for instance, do you see it? No, that's because it's over here. But no, seriously, it's almost impossible to find. Like, she's holding the gimmick. There are only 2 ways to get a coin like this to open. One would be to hold it by that sweet spot, this little area of the flipper coin that doesn't move. Hold it right by the edge, and then turn the hand palm down, and it'll pop right open. The only other way to get this to happen is to hold the coin by the edges and then release pressure, which would cause the flipper coin to open. But if you were to hold the coin just a couple of centimeters to either side, it's not going to go anywhere. If you hold it by the edges and try to give it a flip, it's not going to go anywhere. When you hand a person money and you ask them to examine it, typically they do this. They turn it over in their hands like this. They might pick it up by the head and the tail, which will definitely keep the coin together as they look at it from the front. Some people even go up and bite your money. But nobody will ever grab it by that and pop it open like that unless they know what to look for. Hell, I've done this routine for years, and I have to look at where to grab it before I go into it. Otherwise, I'll be like, and then you hit the sweet spot. So you allow the coins to be examined. When I take the coins back, I make sure that the gimmick is uppermost, mouth up. As I patter, 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 when I'm ready to engage into the routine, I grab the stack. With the hand palm down, I allow my index finger and thumb to grab the coins. The index finger is on that sweet spot, so that when I turn the hand palm up, the flipper pops open, and it goes right between my ring finger and my thumb so that I can show 4 coins on the palm of the hand to my audience. I will place my thumb on these 3 so that I can toss this one into the air. As I do that, I'm going to retrieve the insert of the flipper. So it looks like this. They're following this object. I show it in an open classic palm position. As I transfer with a little click, it looks like I've added that coin to it. So that's now the open flipper coin and then the other 2 coins. Again, the open flipper coin and the other 2 coins. I'll then place this hand that's holding out on her scapula. As I ask, do you see all 4 coins? She'll say yes. Then I'll come over. I'll ask, do you see 4 coins? Pushing this coin deeper in the classic palm as I point. I then place my hand on the table. The way I typically do this is by curling the index finger in. It's just, it feels like there's nothing in the hand. It doesn't appear as if I'm classic palming. The way people typically classic palm, you can tell like the claw kind of thing going on. But by curling the index finger around, it just feels natural, feels normal. I show the 4 coins. I toss them into the air about that far. And in doing so, that flipper coin is going to close. I close the hands around it. And just like we were talking about before, they're using that hang pin chin. I let all the contents fall out of the pocket. Out of the palm. They see 3. They assume that there's 1 here, even though the hand's empty. From this point, just pantomime, just like I did in peregrination. I toss, indicate where the coin's going with my eyes, and if I'm wearing a ring, if you're wearing a wedding ring, you can do this. And that indicates the moment that the coin arrives. So from here, you just let it hit the ring on its way down. So from here, open the hand, allow the first coin to be seen. That becomes your first applause cue. From this point, thank you. Appreciate that. You find the coin, you turn it mouth up, and you place things back into a stack. Patter, patter, patter. Go back into that same position, clipping it between the middle and the ring finger so you can show 3 coins. Toss over, retrieve. The same thing as you ask them to open their right hand and get them to bring it above the table. And then you do the same transfer. Now you're going to use the classic palm to grab the wrist as you place the open flipper coin and the single coin. I'm going to tilt it towards the camera just a little bit. Perfect. That's the open flipper coin. There's the single coin. And you show 1 coin on the palm of your hand so they see 4 coins. Then you ask them to take their left hand and cover the coins, creating a cave. And in doing so, if we can, perfect. And what really happens, if we can go to a close-up, as you ask them to cover, you're going to take this hand, drop this coin in the finger palm, turn over, and show the empty hand. If you feel so inclined, you can slide this coin up to the fingertips. That way you can get a nice open display. If you have the opportunity, you can even leave the coin sitting on the back of the hand like so. That's a little overkill, but it is possible. All you really want to do is get into this position. You close your hand around the coins, and what's going to happen is the coin in finger palm is going to boogie up until it reaches the palm and jingle against the coin there as you shake. But this is really interesting. Let's do this. I'm going to have you stand for a moment, and I'm going to change your chair so that we can get a nice close-up of the over the shoulder. If you don't mind, have a seat right here. So I'm going to show you guys what happens in the spectator's hands. So if you don't mind, leave a little hole so that they can see inside of your hand. Are you guys in a position where you can see that? Perfect. Excellent. So when they cover, you have 2 types of spectators. You have those who are going to want to look inside of the hand the entire time this is happening. So if you don't mind, go ahead and shake the coins just a little bit. if you have the kind of spectator that likes to look, they're going to see the coin as it vanishes. I don't know if we can get it any higher. Maybe we can get your hand a little lower. There we go. That's even better. So I'm going to open this bad boy up one more time. Excellent. Thank you so much for your help. I really appreciate it. So you can see all three. I'm just going to make sure that we get that in the camera. Perfect. That's perfect. And go ahead and give them a shake. And in that one instance, you can't see her face, it's priceless, but she gets to see one coin visibly vanish. So if you have that kind of spectator, that's a great opportunity for that. The other one, they are going to cover the coins completely. You can go ahead and do that. And as they shake, actually bring the hands a little closer together. Some people, especially women with really, really small hands, when they bring their hands together, what ends up happening is there's not enough air, enough space between the palms, so when they shake, you won't even hear anything. Go ahead and shake. There's nothing. You can hear hardly anything. And that's not a great thing, but it's great that you're able to do it. So that means the coins will not close. If I ever hear that, what that means, and if we can go to a slightly wider shot, when I cause my coin to go across, I show mine, and I have her bring her hands over the table. Because I know that flipper coin didn't close, I have her open her hands like this, which will ensure that the flipper coin closes as it hits the table. Okay? Thank you for that. If you don't mind, you come on back around. I'll bring your chair back around. Perfect. There you go. Thank you so much. So that's the two ways to handle the second phase. Again, I will put the coins together. The great thing about this routine is it's modular. You can do a phase, you can stop, you can have a conversation, and at any point you can just stop doing magic altogether and just go into a conversation. It's a great thing. When I created this, I was doing restaurant magic, and I designed it to be done for a large table, so a 10 top plus. I would start on this side and do a phase for 4 or 5 people here. Then I would go to the next part of the table and do a little bit more, so that by the end of the routine, you have people who started seeing the routine standing up, some of them even standing on their chairs, looking to see what happens at the very end of the routine. It became the one trick that I would do, the one that I did more than anything else at weddings. So like I said, a great piece of magic. So this is probably the most visible or visual part of the entire routine that's going to happen in your hands. What you do is you have them show the palm of their hand to the audience, allow their middle finger and thumb to slowly come together, turn the hand at the wrist, and then bring it directly above the table. Now I'm being really specific because I want to make sure he's able to follow instructions. If he can't get this, and this, I need somebody else. You know, I'm not saying that to be a smartass, but it's the truth. If he can't do this, and this, he's not going to follow for the most important part. So those instructions are important. Then I'll ask him, before I even touch the coins, I'll ask him to take the other hand, turn it palm up, and place it about 6 to 8 inches under the right. And there's some jokes that you can do there, like, that's funny. That is funny. In doing so, I open the flipper coin. I've got the 3 coins on top. Now what I want to do is I want to slide this coin to cover the other 2, so that I can use my middle finger and thumb to grab all 3 coins as 2. So from your audience's point of view, they still see 4. From the underside here, this is what you'd see. Yeah? So you see the 3rd coin hanging underneath until I curl the ring and the pinky finger in, and that's what you see. You see 2. So holding my fingers in this position, every once in a while, this spectator wants to look underneath to see what's going on. So now by curling the ring and the pinky, I can quickly give a quick flash to show that there are only 2 coins in play. Now that's slightly discrepant, because there's a huge space between these 2 coins, and there's such a small gap between those 2. But your audience is never going to notice it, especially if they've never seen coins like this before. So now, I'm going to get him to open his middle finger and thumb and grab these 2 coins by their edges the way I have here. Now, I also make sure that their right hand, the hand closest to the audience, is the one that I use. There was a time, would you mind doing the same with your left hand? Thank you. There was a time when I would have the audience do this, but it is so easy for them to start doing that I want to ensure that doesn't happen. So I do it with their right hand, or whatever hand faces the audience. So if you have that person on this side, make sure that it's the person that they're using their left hand if you do it from this side. So now he's got 2 coins. The back of his hand keeps the coins from being seen from your audience's point of view until you grab them by the wrist to show that there are 2 and 2. So the next part, get a good grip. There you go. Perfect. The next question people always ask me is, how does he know he's not holding on to 2 coins? How does he not know that he's holding on to a gimmick? There are a couple of reasons. The first reason is because the nature, I'm going to go ahead and show this around. Thank you. if you can get in really tight, the nature of a gravity flipper coin is that the insert also has milling. I don't know if you can pick that up there, but this coin also has a little bit of milling, so it matches the other. The second reason is when you're holding these two coins, or what appears to be two coins by the edges, there's a little play in the coins because of the nature of the rubber band. So it feels like you're holding two. If you do this a couple of times, I can even have the spectator reach underneath, grab, and readjust. Because from underneath, it feels like silver, because it is silver. So they can even adjust. However, there have been 3 times in the years that I've performed this routine where I've given these two coins to a spectator. They look at me, they look at the two coins, they do this, and then they do this. They don't know that they're not looking at 2 real coins. What they're really seeing is the innards of the flipper coin, but it's silver. To hold a coin with your arm extended is already an uncomfortable position, so I don't want to keep them there for that long. So to turn the hand at the wrist to look underneath is a little difficult as it is. So they're only going to get a slight angle. What they're seeing, of course, is the innards of the flipper coin, but because there's shadow from above, and I'm banking on the fact that they've never seen coins that look like this before, they're just seeing silver and shadow. So all 3 times that that's happened, they've looked at the 3 coins, they looked at me, they peek, and all right, what's next, boy? What are we doing? So you hand them the 2 coins again. Thank you so much. Hold your other hand underneath. And now what's going to happen, like I said, the most visual part of the routine. They're going to drop the open flipper coin as 2 coins against the palm of their hand. It's important that you give them some instructions. You ask them to catch the coin. Make sure you pantomime the action of catching the coins, because sometimes this kind of a thing will happen. You don't want that, because it clouds the effect slightly. So you have them catch the coins. The flipper coin will close. They'll have 1 coin inside. You can go ahead and do that. And then you take this hand away and you have them open their hand to reveal 1. And then you can take it from their hand, show it around, drop, and they get the applause for that. Now, there are 2 ways that we can handle this next part. I can do this in my own hands, showing 2, dropping the 3 as 2 into the hand, and then eventually counting 1, 2, and 3. That's cool. We can take it up another step. If you do this, now I apologize, you've already seen what's going to happen, so you already know the trick, so I won't be able to fool you with it. But if you don't mind, open your right hand, your middle finger and thumb, and I'm going to have you grab the coins by the edge. So grab by the edge, right by the edge there. Yeah, by the by the edge. There we go. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, by the edge. So now she's holding on to 2 coins. Put your other hand underneath, and when she drops, he's got 2, she's got 2. I've got empty hands. So let's go ahead and get you into that position. So you get to see 2 and 2. On the count of 3, after 3, meaning 1, 2, 3, Geronimo, you catch your 2, you catch your 2, the magic will happen. 1, 2, 3, Geronimo. You open your hand and you'll show only 1 coin. You open your hand and you get 1, 2, and 3. Yeah? So that's kind of a cool thing. At this point, while they're responding, and when it comes to the guy over here, you really want to give him or her some time to react, because people in the front row, when this drops from 2 and they've seen 2 and it changes to 1, they're going to want to check his or her sleeves. They're going to want to check the vault to make sure nothing fell down. They're going to want to check the floor around them to make sure nothing hit the carpet. So you have to allow that moment to happen. If you step on it, it takes away from the magical atmosphere, and it sucks. The worst thing that's ever happened to me, and it's only happened once in a live performance. I don't mind telling it. When he dropped the coin landed like that. And I said, "Oh, it's a glitch in the Matrix. Let's do it again." It's only happened once. Only once. Another cool thing that's happened to me, it happens every once in a while, and it happens because either your audience didn't hear your instructions, they didn't understand your instructions, or they didn't care about your instructions. It's when they leave that hand flat and don't make it mobile, if they don't brace the impact. And the flipper coin bounces and does that. So you want to make sure that you emphasize, because we all know this is a friggin' expensive piece of machinery. that they catch the coins. They don't have to necessarily close their hand around the coins, but as long as they at least brace for that impact to absorb the blow as the flipper coin hits their hand and closes. So that's also important. So while they're responding to all of this, I usually place my hand on the back of the chair and place this hand into a pocket casually while they're responding, and I just grab the expanded shell. I'm going to add the expanded shell to the fingertips, and I place the coin inside and then bring it back to the fingers. So I place it here, and then as I go to grab the other coins, oops, I missed, but I bring it to the fingertips. I'll do that one more time because it's such a casual thing. I pick this one up, this comes here, and as I gather the others, you're back at the fingertips. If you don't mind opening your right hand for me one more time, I'll get you to place it right about there. Thank you so much. I place these 3 coins and the nested flipper coin and expanded shell right there at the fingertips or on the palm of her hand. I'll have her show her left hand empty and then use the left hand to gather the coins at the center of the palm like a stack of poker chips. Then she'll show her left hand empty. And then I'll use a move that's credited to Bob Bengal that was used by Derek Dingle in his Coins Across. Essentially, you've got a stack of coins. On the top of that stack of coins is a shell that's wider than the entire stack. So when you have someone reach from above to grab the expanded shell, that's the only thing that they're going to be able to lift unless they're grabbing the whole thing. They're going to grab that widest object, which is the object on top. So when they grab the shell, they place that onto your hand. They won't be able to feel that it's an expanded shell because of the weight. They're grabbing it by the edge, so they can't feel the weight. So if you don't mind, take your middle finger and thumb, grab just that top coin, place it onto the palm of my hand. Now, here's a really interesting thing. Right now, she will still be able to see she's got 4 coins on the palm of the hand. Here's how we keep that from being seen for 360 degrees. I'm going to start back by having you square those coins on the palm of the hand with your left hand. Perfect. And show your left hand empty once more. Excellent. Then if you don't mind, take your middle finger and thumb, grab just that top coin, place it onto the palm of my hand, and then close your hand tightly around those. 360 degrees. Let me break it down. I'll get you to open your hand one more time. Perfect. Thank you. Now, when I place my hand here, it keeps anyone here from being able to see the coin. My body would keep anyone behind me from being able to see, which leaves this area. When I ask you to take your hand, take that top coin and place it onto the palm of my hand, the moment her hand comes into this position, it blocks their view, which only leaves the people here and her being able to see that. So if you don't mind, take the coin, place it onto the palm of my hand, and then the moment I ask you to close your hand around, I'm blocking her vision and everyone's vision here so that 360 degrees, no one can see that there are 4 coins sitting on the palm of her hand. So if you don't mind, close your hand around those coins. And now I'm left with just the expanded shell, and she's created the conviction for herself because she knows that 4 minus 1 equals 3. From this point, you can do any vanish that you want. In my original set of lecture notes, I taught something that looked a little bit like this. Watch. If you don't mind, just open your hand and you can see you have all 4 coins. And the camera didn't quite pick up on it. But what I really did is I showed the shell, I did a retention, and then the dirty hand came to her shoulder. I did a false transfer and I tossed, and I put my forearm between everyone else's view of the coin and the coins here. So I was able to show empty hands. She opens her hands to see 4 coins, and then as I straighten my posture, I reach back up and I take the coin into finger palm. That was the original way I did it before I had the OXF set. Now that I have the OXF set, if I have a magnet in my back pocket, which I don't at the moment, well, all I have to do is do a regular take, drop this bad boy against the pocket, and take a step back this way as I toss so that no one here would be able to see it, and I've got a completely clean vanish. What I opt to do, and I do this the most often, it's the way I do it in my Castle Act, it's the way I do it in just about every show, is a vanish that looks a little bit like this. And then I have them open their hand. Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help. So the vanish, I'm going to show each individual hand action, then I'll put it together. This hand, I'm holding the coin by the index finger and the thumb. I'm going to extend the middle and the ring finger. I'll slide the coin horizontally down the contour of the thumb and into the palm, keeping the index finger and thumb together as I turn the hand palm up, and then I'll open the hand pinky to index finger with the hand tilted towards me, so again, you're seeing between the fingers. So like this. The other hand's action is of closing, pinky to thumb, the hand turning palm up, and then opening pinky to thumb. The moment I cover the coin, I do the move in the hand here. Both hands turn palm up, then I open pinky to index, and then pinky to thumb. So you get this really cool burn of the coin going into the hand. Then this hand is shown empty, this hand is implied empty, the hand drops, and then I come back into this position as I ask them to open the hand. And then they see 4 coins. I, the flipper coin, I'll nest those. That way I can handle that as a single coin so I can then show everything on the table. And that is Impossible Coins Across. Give these guys a round of applause for helping out. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good. Any questions?
I have a quick question while we're getting a microphone for anybody else. But when you say that you eye the flipper coin, what is it that indicates it to you?
Great question. Great question. So the flipper coin that I use is a silver coin, which means that it has, if you don't mind getting a nice tight shot of this, you can see the black in it. Not the skin, but the black on the coin. That's called patina. It's just dirt that's wedged itself into the sides of the coin. What I typically do, and it doesn't have it here, but before a performance, especially if I know I'm going to be using a lot of stage lights, is I take a Sharpie marker and I place a small dot between the words half and dollar, so that mark sticks out like a sore thumb to me. But when I put it down, you know, you wouldn't be able to tell when you look at the other coins, but I'd be able to see it from here, especially if there are big lights there, because it stands out. And that's how I'm able to tell.
Yeah.
And as long as the coin is mouth up, which means face down, that's how I do.
Sure.
Great question.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
This is actually going back to the peregrination
Yeah.
routine, if you don't mind. Regarding the blocking, I noticed that you crossed over to this side first to show the 2 coins and then came to me. But you said you're left-handed and you were using your opposite hand cross over to the other side. And I was wondering if you ever do it the other way with the nearest hand to that side, or if you could kind of comment on that.
No. I do not. And the reason I don't is because it doesn't have the same flow, mainly because I'm left-handed. So if I was to try to do that same move the other way, it doesn't work as well for me. I have thought about it. I have tried it. But again, these grates are something vicious. Would you mind sitting over here? Yeah. Thank you so much. So again, having these coins examined, they take a look at them, bring them back, and I'm able to show these coins and then do the move. It feels better to me because I'm left-handed. Trying to do it the other way, to me, would feel like I might as well be doing the hang pinch in literally in the air into their hand. Sure, it can be done.
You're going from right to left with the coins, though, right? From your...
I'm going from my right hand into my left. So from here, there.
And then as far as the actual, the coins across part, though,
they're going
You're all
from
starting from
the
this side.
audience's left to the audience's right. And that is a really cool thing to talk about. When it comes to coins across, or anything traveling from one place to the other, it feels like a better flow if they're traveling from the way people read. So from my right into my left would be the audience's left into the audience's right, which feels a little bit better.
Yeah, and it seems to be that's one of the things that that a left-handed person doing coin magic has an advantage over is it's going to the proper ending as far as people see it.
Yeah. A great question. Thank you so much. Yeah.
When you performed this for Penn and Teller, what was your biggest fear that they were going to maybe call you out on? Did they have any guesses? Were they close? And were you concerned with anything in particular?
As far as things to be afraid of, I don't want to sound cocky at all, but I'm confident enough in the routine that I wasn't afraid of getting caught, especially not by the audience. If they felt like it was a gimmick, I was going to push a little bit to see if they knew which one it was. If they had a way of explaining it to me, I was going to walk off stage. For those who haven't seen the clip, I encourage you to go to YouTube, type in the words Eric Jones Fool Us. It'll pull up the entire clip and you can see the way I performed it on television. For those of you who are in the know, you know about Turtle Talk. Penn, Gillette, and Teller, they sat down. What you didn't see, the conversation lasted close to 15 minutes. I was on with Jonathan Ross, and we had to banter back and forth while they deliberated. Their initial guess was a turtle, which was, double talk for an expanded show. And I explained, as you saw, or you will see on the video, that there was one used, but it was only used for one aspect of the entire routine. Teller's jaw dropped. And I was like, "Ooh, it's going to be interesting." So they deliberated some more. Jonathan and I had a little bit more conversation. They came back, and they had this conversation about how Penn has kids, and he's got a pond in the backyard, and he's got 12 turtles. And I'm like, Dean Dill's explosion? What? Really? So I said, no. Then they guessed a locking turtle. They said it was, they made the comment that it's expensive. You want to keep it locked away, indicating that they thought it was a locking shell. And I was like, technically it does because of the magnet, but that's not what it is, and that's not what I use. So I pushed a little bit more, and I said no again. And then they went a little bit left and made a couple other guesses that were not quite right. And after a few minutes, they said, you know what, it's a judgment call, because they asked if it was gimmicked. I'm like, yeah, it's gimmicked, and you can examine everything here on the table. And they said, what is it? I'm sorry, let me take that back. They said, it's a judgment call. We've got Johnny in the booth. He knows how the trick's done. He'll let us know. And then Jonathan Ross comes back and says that, it's one part that you've guessed, but the majority of it you haven't. Eric, you fooled Penn and Teller. They come up, and as Penn and Teller are approaching me to give me the trophy that's falling down and to shake my hand, I can see Penn having a conversation in his earpiece, and he's like, what the fuck is it? And Johnny says, it's a flipper. And he goes, I've got one of those at home. So, but I've heard through the grapevine that when Penn and Teller first sat down and started deliberating on the routine, that Penn said to Teller, I think it's a flipper coin. And Teller says, nah, flipper coin doesn't work that way. So, in essence, I fooled Teller, but I didn't fool Penn.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm cool.
Oh yeah, no, anything, and that's the thing. They were guessing the turtle because the ending is a little bit more straightforward.
Yeah.
That almost any magician's ever worked with coins recognizes that.
Exactly.
But they didn't realize it wasn't in play for the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what was I'm going to ask, was this specifically requested of you, or is this what you put forward? That you wanted to do on the show? How did the producers find out about this routine?
3 routines that I wanted to do if I was chosen to go on the show. And of the 3 routines, this is the one I felt had the best chance of fooling them. But I didn't go onto the show hoping to fool Penn and Teller. Really, I want more work. So I was hoping that TV spot, would go onto the show reel so that I can show it to the agents to get more work out of it. And that's really why I did it.
Right.
So I was like, well, what encompasses, my persona the best, which would be the best effect for a lay audience out of my material. And this is the only routine that I showed them. The routine after that, both of them would have been card tricks.
Yeah. Great choice. And I think we have another question back
Yes,
there.
sir.
Did you eventually have to show them how it was done?
No. And I'm going to go to my grave and hope they never buy the DVD. No. I don't know. I've heard a couple of stories of people saying they want to know how it was done from other foolers. I didn't think they'd be that interested. I didn't even get to hang out to see them after the show. I got to hang out with Teller. I was in Vegas 3 weeks ago, and we sat down and we had a conversation about this, but that's the only time that I've really had a chance to have a conversation with them since the episode aired, or actually since it was filmed. And there were no questions about the mechanics other than, the turtle talk. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate the question. Any others, guys? No? Then guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
I really do appreciate everyone. Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, I'm assuming that's everything that you want to share with us tonight.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Big
it.
round of applause for Eric Jones. Keep it going for him. And Eric, come on over here and join me. I really do appreciate you sharing that with us in particular. There's a Sharpie right there wedged
excellent,
down
excellent,
in the seat. I'm curious though. Is this the first time that you've revealed that? How that's done, or was that
No.
was that published years ago?
It's a weird thing. It's one of the very first things I ever revealed.
Yeah.
Back in 2006 or 2007, I put out a set of lecture notes called Fingertips Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, like I said, that was the first thing. I had about 9 or 10 things. Actually, a lot of the things from this lecture were in that original set of
going
lecture
back to
notes.
some of the original stuff. It's
Yeah.
interesting how some of the early works kind of get hidden. They make a reputation for you with those guys that are in the know. And they're like, you got to check out this guy, you got to check out this guy. But they don't quite filter all the way through, so you can go back and revisit those many, many years later.
Yeah.
And I think that's fascinating that something that's been in print that long can still fool everybody.
And they say if you want to keep something a secret, put it in
Put
print.
it in print. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Make it part of your regular work too. Put it in
Yeah.
print and work with it for years and years and years.
So yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah. Now, I've known you for quite a while. You've only been involved in magic for a short time compared to me.
Right.
But I've known you for just about the whole time because all of the pros heard about you like right away because your style is so different. You know, we all were used to David Roth's style,
Right.
or David Neighbors, some of those guys that were doing things. But you have a much more relaxed, very soft-spoken style, which I absolutely love.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It's close to who you are
Yeah.
as a person. But in all that time, I've never really gotten to know you and how you got interested in this whole crazy business.
Yeah.
So where were you born? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Virginia.
Okay.
I remember the first time I saw magic, like live, not on television, like when I saw David. Now I want to say David Roth, but I'm talking about David Blaine. Was the first
Blaine,
magic
sure.
that I ever saw.
Yeah. But did you see him
I-
live, or did you see him on his first TV special?
The first television special
Yep.
when I first saw him, but the first time I actually saw magic live,
Yeah.
I went to a magic shop in Richmond, Virginia, and there was a guy named Hun Wu, and he showed me this effect with a little jelly jar. He took out a dime and a penny, he put them inside, he closed the lid, he held it like this, and he shook it in front of my face, and he asked me how much money's inside. And I said, 11 cents.
Yeah.
He says, no, you're not paying attention. And he turned like this, and he showed me that there were 2 pennies inside. He popped it open, dumped them out, handed them to me. And I was like, what the hell? And he took them back and dropped them back inside, shook it up again, said, how much is in here? I said, 2 cents. He says, no, you're not paying attention. It's 20 cents, 2 dimes. He dumped them out, handed them
What?
to me, and I was like,
That's cool.
what's going on? He dropped them back inside, covered it up again. How much is in here? 20 cents? No, you're not paying attention. There's a dime and a penny. He handed them to me, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm done with this.
Yeah.
But then I didn't have any money. So what I did is I went home, and I took a little jelly jar that I emptied out and cleaned it out, and I took a bunch of dimes and a bunch of pennies, and I put them between my fingers, and I'm trying to find ways to switch them in and out as I'm dropping them into the thing. I didn't know anything about sleight of hand at the time, and I came up with a way to do the trick that I saw in the magic shop.
Yeah. Now, I'm just curious. He probably used some gimmicks and some magnets and some stuff like that, but you worked it all out without gimmicks.
Yeah, I had no concept
That's
of
right.
a
You
gimmick
didn't
or
know
sleight of
what was
hand.
going on. How old were you at the time? If I might
19.
ask? Okay, so 19.
19, yeah.
Right. So you in magic terms, you started a little bit later than most people,
Right.
but still you knew nothing at all
Nothing at all.
about magic methods
No.
when you first tried to work that one out.
The only thing I knew about magic was I had a set of TV magic cards that I got from Walmart as a kid, and I'd seen The World's Greatest Magic. I remember Jeff McBride, I remember Felston Jones, and I remember Renee Levant.
Yeah.
And Tom Ogden. I remember Tom. I don't know why I remember Tom, but I remember you, Tom. So aside from that, no magic at all. And like I said, I came up with a way to do it. So about 4 months later, I go into the magic shop, and I was like, you know what? I remember that trick you were doing. And they was like, oh, you want to buy it? I'm like, I think I came up with a way to do it. Tell me how close I am. And I did it for him, and he laughed at me because it was so horrible.
Oh, yeah.
So horrible.
Right.
But he was really appreciative of the ingenuity that went into it,
Yeah.
even though the method sucked. He says, "You want to know how I did it? I'll show you how I did it." And he shows me this copper silver coin made out of a diamond penny, and he shows me this little hat that fits on top of the diamond penny. And I'm looking at this thing, I'm like,
It's fascinating, isn't it? The first time you see the machining on a
What?
coin.
Yeah, and I'm like,
oh, yeah.
my mind just exploded.
Yeah.
So I had about $50 with me, so I bought that trick. I bought the Bobo's Modern Coin Magic. I bought the complete introduction to Coin Magic by Michael Lamar on VHS. I bought a Dave Hutzbath SpongeBob video and 4 sets of sponges. And that became all the magic that I knew for the next 4 years.
Wow.
I didn't make any other magic purchases. I studied just that material.
That's kind of unusual as well, is a commitment to just that material, as opposed to just trying to buy absolutely everything else. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Have you always had like that mentality where you focus on a particular thing until you get it exactly right?
I'd never had a passion for anything before up until that point.
Okay.
So I paint, I draw, I sculpt, and at that time I thought maybe I was going to be an artist. Then I found girls, and I said, you know what? Maybe I need to make a little bit more money so I can support my habit. Yeah. And and then I found magic, and there was a movie that came out called Sister Act, and in the movie, Whoopi Goldberg says to Lauryn Hill that if you wake up in the morning and all you can think about doing is singing, then you're meant to be a singer. And at that time, all I could think about was magic. And I'm like, that's what I'm meant to do. I want to put all of my effort into this.
Yeah.
And it's been my one, all I can think about. What is it now? 17 years later.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
with such a strong focus on coin magic, and I got to tell you, I mean, I'm a generalist. I'll work any kind of magic that there is, but it's one of the weaker aspects for me. Early on, I was working on a lot of very, very difficult, very challenging knuckle busting kind of stuff, but coins never quite captured me the way that they did you. Did you find that because during that 4 years where you were studying mainly coin magic, did you find that that's the stuff that appealed to the people that you were performing for because you loved it so much?
It only because I enjoyed it so much, because the truth of the matter is, even though I was going back into the magic shop and I saw other magic, I didn't buy anything else because I didn't see anything that had the same visual appeal as
Right.
I was seeing with coin magic. And I just felt like there was something so pure about manipulating one object versus 52.
Yeah.
So I stayed on that path. And then about 3 or 4 years in, I watched a Jeff McBride lecture, and he says, do one thing well. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is going to be my one thing. And I had no idea it was going to take me as far as it has, but it's a blessing.
Well, it certainly has. But early on, you weren't necessarily as successful. You told
Oh,
me
my
you
God,
confided
no.
you confided in me that your first paid gig was for like a family gathering
Yeah.
with a bunch of people there, about 85 people or something like that, and you performed like a long set of
Yeah.
a lot of coin stuff.
Every coin trick I knew.
Every coin trick that you knew, and it didn't go over so well.
Well, the first trick was great.
Yeah, all right.
And then they said, if my uncle he's a really good guy, he's also very opinionated and a bit of a jerk. And the third coin trick, he says, Eric, if another coin goes from that hand to that